Hey folks, it's Lauren from Snowy's here with the Zempire Aerospeed 4. I'm going to show you some really awesome features.
Hit it.
With the vertical walls and external brow poles that maximizes internal space, it's lightweight and compact for a family tent of its size with a dynamic storage bag to keep all your gear organized. Hold up, to make sure you don't miss any of our awesome content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get back to it. So your tent is going to pack down into a storage bag like this, which as you can see is pretty small and compact for the actual size of the tent itself. It's around about 60 centimeters long by about 28-ish centimeters in diameter, and it weighs just under 10 kilos. So I do want to spend a bit of time on the storage bag because in true Zempire fashion, they have made a bag that matches the quality of their gear as well. So it's made from the same Dura-Core polyester materials as the tent itself, with the ripstop on the outer here. Now it's got a nice, really soft but heavy duty carry handle here that runs sort of around onto the end as well, so if you carry it by the end or on the side. And they've also got a adjustable shoulder strap here that can be fully tightened down or loosened off as well, and that is also removable with some good quality I think nylon clips with like a little spring gate here. So the really cool thing about the storage bag is that Zempire have included this nifty feature where it sort of acts like a bit of a tool roll. So I know when you're packing up your tent, sometimes keeping all the poles and peg bags and everything can be a little bit of a hassle. So we've got these pockets here. Now obviously the tent's set up, so we're missing all of our bits and pieces, but check out our setup and pack away video for more details on this. But Zempire have deconstructed the pump, which allows the tent to pack up so small. So your air hose slides into this pocket here, and your brow poles, which you can see across the top of the vestibule on the tent. There's one in the front and the back that will go over again. That one, the brow poles are going to slide into this next compartment here. You've got the base and the handle of your pump, which slide into these pockets, and this section here is for your pegs. Now the tent itself rolls up and packs away into the main component, the main part of the storage bag, and the barrel of your pump is going to roll up inside the tent itself to give you a nice little tidy bundle. But again, check out our setup and pack away video for more information on that. So now moving on to the tent, the setup dimensions are 365 centimeters front to back. Now that's to the peg points on the vestibules. We've got 285 centimeters from side to side, and we're also up to 195 at the external peak height there, like so. Now obviously those dimensions don't take into consideration your guy ropes because that's going to vary how far or close you want to peg them out. Now moving on to the actual features themselves, there are a couple of little things that really shows how considered Zempire have been with the design of these Aerospeed tents. The first one that I really love is the webbing strap adjustment. Now these are on all 4 peg points on the front and the rear vestibules, as well as on the base of the air poles as well. Now the reason why these are really cool is because with Zempire's tent design, the fly and the tent inner are connected, so it all goes up in one go. And these just allow you to create the perfect tension across the fly over the whole tent, which is obviously really awesome for when it's raining and watershed and all sorts of things like that. So both sides of the tent are identical. So we've got our 3 guy rope points here. The guy ropes on the air beams have got this double point connection here, but down to a singular peg point. So that's really handy because obviously it's going to reduce the amount of guy ropes that you've got pegged in, but it's going to give you really good tension down the whole length of that wall instead of just having sort of one point here to put a lot of strain on the fly. So this gives you that beautiful tension, distributing the strain on the fly as well. The zip sliders are like an anodized aluminium, and they work simply by twisting the triangle like so, which allows you to slide it up and down that main leader on the guy rope. The central guy rope point is also perfectly placed to allow water runoff from the fly as well. And that can be tensioned exactly the same way with your anodized aluminium a guider here, or your slider here for your guy rope. Now on the underside of the fly, you can see it is a fly cap here, but on the underside of the edge, we've got a zipper. Now this means that you can attach a separately available add-on, which is a wall kit. The internal material of the tent and the external fly are the same waterproof rating. So the wall kit is not going to really do anything in terms of adding additional waterproofing to your tent. But it is a great option if you're wanting to have a little bit of additional privacy, or perhaps you camp a lot in winter and you want to sort of really shut that fly down to give you a full skin, creating that air gap to manage condensation and potentially add a little bit of extra warmth. So our brow poles, which are on the front and the back, are essentially the same. We've got these reinforced PVC points on each corner to help the rubbing of that brow pole and protection of the fly. Down the end here, we've got our little anchor points for the brow pole. Now I really love these because Empire have added a little finger loop here. So obviously while you're connecting one end, the tensioning's not too bad, but when you're going for the second one, because the brow pole holds a lot of tension and gives the tent a really nice shape, the finger loop is just such a thoughtful addition here to be able to pull it down and get that connected with a lot of ease. So that brow pole runs the whole way along, as I mentioned, the front and the back, and it really helps to create that opened out square shape, which maximizes your internal space, which we'll get onto in just a minute. Now, for the most part, the tent is a bit of a mirror image, front and back, with the exception of our rear vestibule here, which has a singular central zip. Now, before I fully open it up, you can see here we've got 2 elastic loops. The tent does come with 11 pegs, which is just the perfect amount you need for all 4 corners, all 6 guy rope points, and a singular peg point at the back here, which allows you to open up only one half of the vestibule side if you wanted to, and keeps that tension on that flap here. But I'll just open up both of them for you now. Some nice air in here. Now the other thing in the toggles where we're stowing away any awning or vestibule flaps, Empire have got a nice stretchy elastic on the rear with the toggle on the front. Now if I flip it over, you'll be able to see here that even this sort of toggle system has been considered in terms of its strength and longevity. We've got this little PVC patch here that's reinforced, as well as an additional bit of this polyester ripstop nylon to keep that elastic in place. And that's just going to slide over and hold the toggle like so. We've also got on our vestibule flaps a couple of extra Velcro points, both here and one in the middle, which obviously helps to keep your zip from working its way open, especially if you're camping and it's a bit windy. Sometimes getting wind up and under the fly and the jostling around of the tent can make zips work open a little bit. But those Velcro points there keep your vestibule sections nice and zipped up. So moving on to the front, here we can see our main vestibule at the entryway is a dual zip vestibule, like on any sort of classic tent with a front door. Now this one zips all the way down, and obviously we've got those Velcro points on both sides as well to keep that one nice and sturdy. Now Empire have also got these glow-in-the-dark zipper pulls, which can be really handy if you're off to the toilet in the middle of the night and you can't find your zipper on the way back. Now zipping these back open, you have the option, as you can see here, we've got a couple of eyelets on each side. If you wanted to, you can pop an awning pole in both of those sides, but you're going to need to grab a couple of awning poles and guy ropes and some additional pegs for that one as a separate add-on. So I'm just going to roll up the vestibule and stow it away again. And again, we've got that consideration with the toggle loops there and how that's stitched and reinforced on the underside of the fly. So when you're rolling up your vestibule, if you're not going to set it up like an awning, As you can see on the other side there, it does sort of hang down a bit loose. So you're going to want to roll it up nice and tight as much as you can across the whole front of the vestibule. And then what you can do is use the tension of the tent on the inner and just sort of try and tuck that up and have it pressing upon this sort of inner flap here. That can sort of help keep the vestibule tucked away. So the materials of the tent here are Zempire's Duracore fabric. We've got the polyester inner and we've got the ripstop polyester on the outer. You can see here the black thread indicates that check that's woven through that ripstop fabric and makes it really tear resistant. Now the Duracore fabric is manufactured to reduce environmental impact, but it doesn't sacrifice Zempire's known quality and durability and longevity with their materials. So the material itself is solution dyed, which reduces the amount of water that's used in the dye process, but it also makes the material ultra fade resistant, which is a really important factor for camping in Australia and our harsh UV rays. It's also been treated with a flame resistance or flame retardant, as some people might know it, but it is PFOA free and PFOS free, and it has been REACH tested. So if you're someone with those sensitivities, that's a really important consideration. Now it is fully seam sealed as well. Just as an example here, you can see we've got this waterproof coating on the underside of the fabric, and we've also got some seam sealing here on the stitching, and that is going to be throughout the tent as well. And that gives that a 3000 mil waterhead rating. Now if you come up underneath this brow pole here and have a look at the underside of the tent. Now this is a really good example to show you of how the tent inner is connected to the pole system itself. So we've got via Velcro straps here, we've got a couple of hooks as well, and then over the side here we've got another couple of toggles and webbing straps with some quick release buckles, and that really all helps the tent to be a singular piece that goes up in one go. The air pole system here is also a cross system or an X shape. There are two inflation valves, but it is a single inflation system. So which inflation port you want to use is entirely up to you. Probably depends on where you park your car if you're going to use a 12 volt air compressor as well. So check out our setup and pack away video for more information on how quick and easy it is to set this one up. Now moving on to the door here. As you can see, we've got this open mesh panel here, and we've got more of a solid panel down the bottom here. Now the door itself is only a singular layered door, as you can see for ease, but I'm just going to pop in here because sort of like your old, I guess, barn doors, we do have a panel on the inside here that can zip up. So we've got this half window at the top. Alternatively, we can zip closed that internal mesh window to add additional privacy. So from here, I can open the door all the way up, and now this zip goes all the way down here to the bottom, and on the back wall of the wall here, we've got this big storage pocket. So on the side here, we have got our window. Now that's going to open all the way up and fold down. Now having a fly cap here, Zempire have obviously taken this little bit of extra consideration, as you can probably see that the window panel itself ends a lot lower than the zip. So if you do happen to get a bit of rain, maybe you've got some water hitting the outside of the mesh there and some water does get through, when you go to open up your window, it's not going to be coming inside your tent because it's going to be caught in this little gutter lip almost here on the edge of the window. So in this corner here, we've got our three big main storage pockets. On the back, we have a singular solid panel. So we obviously don't have that half split window like we have on the front. But again, you have the option to fully open that up and stow the door away if you want to. The window on this side of the tent, again, is the same. And as you can see here, that consideration for the toggles has even been extended down here to your window panels as well. And we have our storage pocket on the other side too, but it's as you can see, it's on the opposite point, on the diagonal point to the rear storage pocket section as well. So up the top here, you can see we have 4 big ventilation panels. Now this is really handy for managing heat in summer. It's also really handy for managing condensation as well. And a really common question we get asked is, if the roof of my tent is open, am I going to be cold? Well, the reality is that tents aren't insulated anyway. So having this mesh panel at the top here is really not going to make much of a difference at all to your warmth, but it is going to make managing, as I mentioned before, that condensation a lot easier. Now the lantern hook is also has a buckle here, so it can be opened right up like so. And along this seam here, we've got some soft Velcro tabs that they're sort of like a zip tie type thing that wraps around, and that goes to the corner point here and runs all the way down to our extension cord or power cord port that goes through the outside. It's also indicated by this little power cord symbol as well. So as you can see here as well, we've got because we've got that fly cap, wherever the tent inner is potentially going to be exposed to rain, whilst the tent inner itself is also made from waterproof material, Zempire have also done some additional seam sealing, which you'll see on the inner in these sections. So they're not seam sealed up here at all, because obviously that's going to be protected and covered by the fly. So the seam sealing also goes down into our corners here, where we have reinforcing points, and along the edge of the bucket floor as well. So the tent floor itself is made from, again, that Duracore material, but it's a polyester Oxford. So it's nice and durable, and it's also waterproofed to a 5,000 mil water head rating. So the internal dimensions of your tent are 285 centimeters wide by 245 centimeters deep. And we also have an internal head height here of 180 centimeters. So as you can see, with the addition of those brow poles, we've got a nice big open squared space, which really maximizes the functionality in here. If you want to use something like a stretcher, for example, you don't have to really worry about those walls tapering in, which will be restricting your size. So I'm going to grab a couple of Zempire mats and see how they fit. So what I've got here is a Zempire monster mat in the single size, not the king single, just the single size, and in the twin or the double size here. So these mats are 132 centimeters wide by 69 centimeters wide on this one. And we have actually previously measured the gap in between these two mats, and you would be able to squeeze a second single mat in here, but obviously you're not going to have any floor space. So ideally, this tent is going to be best suited to a couple, which will give you, you know, all of your extra room for storing gear and things like that. Or potentially, if you want a separate tent for your kids and give them their own space, something like this will have really great room for them and really excellent livability, and you can fit a couple of kids in here, no worries. Alternatively, if you really did want to fit 4 people in here, you obviously can do that, no problems whatsoever, but you will want to make sure you've got a sheltered storage space for all of your gear. Anyway, that's about it for the features of the Zempire Aerospeed 4 tent. You can get this at snowies.com.au at our low prices every day.